we're going to take a quick video break. This is an ad for our Sunday show, which hopefully you'll check out on Sunday. And there you have it, folks. That is our Sunday preview show. That's every Sunday. I believe that's now 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern. So check that out. Find us in the Let's Talk Football family. Now we're going to go on to one of our popular segments here, right? Everybody loves to hear from the lovely Delilah. So here we are. Delilah's segment is This Day in NFL. Delilah, take it away.
All right. Well, remember back in August, I said kind of remember this day, August 20th, as kind of the baby steps towards what is today the NFL. But now we can actually kind of move forward a little bit, a month later. So even though it's not exactly on this day, however, September 17th, 1920 is when the NFL, as kind of we're looking at it today, was born. The first president of what was then called the American Football Association was Jim Thorpe, which I covered in DWD last year. And so he was chosen as its first president. Now, what's interesting is that pro football was already around back in the 1890s, but these businessmen, right, were like, who owned these teams that were scattered all over the country, right? Kind of, there was no organization. You had kind of people's teams in the Midwest. You had people on the East Coast. And so these wealthy kind of football owners were like, well, we got to kind of do something a little better that's a bit more organized to kind of bring things to order. And so, about 15 NFL owners kind of met, which included George Halas, Mr. Papa Bear. He went to Canton, where owners of 11 other franchises were meeting: the Canton Bulldogs, the Decatur Staleys, Chicago Cardinals, because I don't know if you guys know that they used to be our team. Now they're Arizona Cardinals. Akron Pros, Cleveland Indians, Dayton Triangles, Hammond Pros, Moosey Flyers, Rock Island Independents, and the Rochester Jeffersons. And so basically all these guys kind of met. And according to the first meetings, one of the teams that was supposed to be part of it decided they didn't want to be part of this team. And this was the Massillon Tigers, which is Massillon is a tiny town in Ohio. So they decided that they didn't want to actually be part of this formation. So they actually did have a meeting and everything, had a bunch of minutes, and they were like, nah, we don't want to do this. The reason the owners actually chose Jim Thorpe is because he was known. He was known even then in the 1920s as one of the greatest athletes of his generation. And so they thought he would be a good face for the organization since they were trying to kind of bring it together. While the gridiron dimensions were the same in the 1920s as today, the pro game itself was actually really different. Forward passes were rare. Coaching from the sidelines was prohibited. So imagine that. Your coaches couldn't even be on the sidelines to give you direction. Players actually competed on both sides, so no one was actually on offense or defense. You kind of played on both. Money was so tight that Papa Bear carried his own equipment, wrote press releases, sold tickets, taped to his ankles, and played and coached for the Decatur club. Okay, so Papa Bear was like all over the place back in the day. So as opposed to today's standard 16-game schedule, obviously we know that kind of stretched slightly. Clubs in the 1920s scheduled their own opponents, so they got to kind of choose kind of who to play, and that they could even play college squads if they wanted, non-league players if they wanted. All that mattered was their wins, so it counted for their records. So there wasn't really too many guidelines. It was really about how many games you won and the quality of opponents that you scheduled. So obviously, if you schedule better teams and you would beat them, then obviously you would look better. And so basically, that's kind of the inaugural kind of formation of this. Then some other teams kind of joined. So it grew to 14. So then you had the Buffalo All-Americans join, the Chicago Tigers, because there were like most cities had and states had multiple teams, especially in the Midwest. You had the Detroit Heralds that also joined. And so the issue with the NFL was that you actually had to, one of the bylaws was that you had to pay $100 entry fee, to kind of be part of it. And a lot of people didn't pay that. So they were like just losing money all over the place. And at this point, people just love college football. I mean, we know we still love college football, but national football, kind of the professional football, Americans really weren't a fan. But they really did cheer their college team. So that still reigns supreme. And so even though like football wasn't as popular then as it is now, this is its humble beginnings. 14 teams back in the 20s who decided that they're going to try and kind of put something together. There was no Super Bowl. Basically, the way that the winners were chosen was kind of like in college. It was by ballots. So it was basically like they all kind of got together and voted for who would actually be crowned champions. And so that's basically kind of how they were chosen. And so the first championship kind of winner was the Akron Pros, because they completed the season undefeated with 8 wins and 3 ties, while only yielding a total of 7 points to their opponents in that whole season. And so that's why they were chosen, and they were called world champions. And instead of getting like the really expensive Super Bowl rings that they got now, they received golden fobs shaped like footballs, and on it was described the world champion. So if someone is out there with a fob shaped like a football that's called world champions, hold on to that, because it's probably worth a lot of money, because that's basically what they gave these guys who would win championships by voting. So that's kind of like your precursor, okay? Started in this kind of babyish way, and then now look at what the NFL is today. So there you go, the birth of the NFL.
Well, Delilah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's a great history lesson. I think a lot of people, didn't know how the NFL exactly got started and how that all came to pass. So we do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you liked that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.